Okay, I think we're all up and running. What is going on, everybody? We are doing some painting. I was very close to not painting because I just don't feel like it, but trying to keep pace here. So we're doing it. I'm going to try to enlist some help with blocking in walls. So we did these yesterday. I actually went down and tested them with the tiles, and I'm really happy with the coloring and the general presentation of it. Make sure actually good everywhere. But today we are going to paint this little fella's counterpart. This is a frost troll. I feel like these trolls are really small. They said at Modifius that they do a lot of scaling and confirming and Bethesda and so on and so forth, but it just, I don't know. I feel like I remember them being bigger, but maybe they weren't. I don't know. All right, change this. Come on, mouse, come back to me. I think my mouse is dying. Okay. Sure that everything is as it should be. Okay. Now I will say I wish I had a little bit more. Let's see. Oh, sorry. Try to get the light. A little bit more of that kind of fleshy, pinky kind of tone. I don't think it reads super well. I don't hate the way that this came out, but I don't love it either. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'd be better off just trying to get a pinky kind of gray and lightly going over it, because it's also supposed to be on his face too. I don't know. Something else to note, and because I've failed prints and stuff, I actually have two of these bases. The foot pegs don't fit in either of these. And it's not super close either, so I'm gonna have to do some trimming of the peg to make that work, because it doesn't fit in either of those. So I don't know. But this should be a relatively quick, easy job. I don't entirely remember how I did the tan. It might just very well be a thin down pallid bone, like a very thin down pallid bone over top. It very well could be. And then the gray is just straight ashen gray, which over the black is rather dark, which gets closer to that color. So we're just going to go ahead and block in the gray, and we'll go from there. I don't think you can really see any of them, but I might block in the little claws, the color as well, just because they're more obvious on his hand. I'm sitting like crisscross in my chair, and my chair wants to rotate, and it's really irritating me. So don't mind. Yeah. So I'm gonna essentially just block in his skin, and then we'll go back and do the fur. Also don't know, talking about the kind of fleshy color, I don't know if it would be better to go ahead of time and do the parts that I want to be a little bit more pink and undertone that with something, and then do the gray over top. I'm not super sure on that front. I feel like that probably would be the idea, but I'm gonna paint this to be similar to its counterpart, which is something that I have a habit of doing, even if maybe I have a better way to go about painting something. Like you want it to match, so you paint a bunch of stuff poorly because that's just how the first one turned out. I'm pretty bad about that. We'll come back to the hands because that's kind of one of my little balancing points I'm using. Because I've got my man stuck to a cup, and he is top heavy. Okay. Like I said, this is gonna be pretty quick and easy. Not spending a ton of time doing anything crazy here. I think while that gray settles. So on this guy, I've got like a dark, kind of brown, mud almost that's in there. I don't remember what I did for that, but I'm gonna go out on a limb and go with a fire drake. Some bony matter, maybe. Hola, Annie. Let's see what color this is. I think that'll probably work. And we're just gonna because again, there'll be snow on this also, so just gonna pick some ground and make it brown. A little heavier, maybe. Right. Yeah, whatever. It'll all come out the same, I think. I'm not worried about it. I'm gonna go ahead and grab some pallid bone and punch in the bone stuff here. I probably should take a white and make these a little more prominent before doing this so that they've got a little bit more color to them. But I don't feel like it. I also like bone white or dead white, skeleton bone. If you want to go opaque skeleton bone with Agrax Earthshade on top of it, I actually really like that for bones also, but I'm doing it the lazy way currently, which is pallid bone, speed paint. And again, I cover some of this with snow and stuff, so I'm not super concerned about some of it, to be completely honest. Okay, is this guy dry? His hands are still kind of drying, but that's okay, that won't affect us. Because now we can take this pallid bone and thin it down which, again, I want this thinned down enough to barely have color to a certain extent. Obviously, the one that I showed y'all at the start still had some color, not fully intentional. He ended up a little bit more tan than I kind of wanted. It's okay. I'm also kind of curious to do like a bone white or maybe a beige, like a dry brush just over the fur. We might do that. All right, that's just what we're gonna go with. That's probably gonna be even more tan than I probably still want, but it's okay.
It's done. Yes, Mr. Frodo. It's over now.
Turn that off. I feel like that mud color is almost the same, actually, so that works. Bone is obvious enough. That base is ready for a tuft and some snow. Easy, easy lemon squeezy. Ah, come on. Come on. Mouse. Oh. Make sure I'm not losing track of anybody. Okay. So the way that I did this, almost tempted just to straight, I think I used aged hide, maybe? I'm kind of tempted to try thinning down like a magenta and putting it over top of this and see where that gets me in the pink hue conversation. Ooh. How about now? Oh, all right, where's my little... Oh no. He's gone. Well, damn. I got like a little metal paperclip type of thing. Fine, we'll do it the hard way. Oh yeah. Try not to get pink paint all over everything. There we go. I think. Easy. I only got some paint on me, to be fair. Pretty sure this paint is very potent. But it is going over gray. I don't know, it's probably still gonna need some thinning. Guess I could do multiple passes, but if it just comes out super pink, I still feel like it's just so pink. I'm gonna try this. I still feel like it's really pink, but whatever. Just want it on the face, and in particular the recesses. That. See when it dries. Get a bit of a pinkish hue on kind of areas where the skin, I guess, would be pulled thin in a sense. Kind of a bit of a highlight, essentially.
There's always been a Baggins living here under the hill.
But more importantly, it's just going to add a tiny little bit of interest, maybe, to an otherwise gray model. Actually, it's kind of strong. I like it. I don't know how well that reads for y'all, but it reads well enough for my eyes, which is kind of what I want. Definitely a little bit of a different take on the original, because the original kind of has more of like a fleshy kind of a vibe rather than a pink magenta kind of a color, but that's okay. He's mostly bent over anyway, so he's a little bit more fur. Whereas this guy, he's upright. He's got some a little bit more musculature showing. Oh, we missed some fur there. What to paint next, though, is the question, because the only other guy I've got primed up is the bard guy, and I don't want to paint the bard guy. I need to try to paint the Spriggans, and I don't have a good game plan for the Spriggans. I almost feel like I need to get like a fluorescent. I don't know. I'm gonna have to look up, maybe see how some other people have painted Spriggans, because they are fiddly little models, and I feel like they need to look and feel as close to a certain way as I can get it. I might have to see kind of how some other people have done it, because nothing really coming to mind right this moment. Now, I could just prime them straight white, and go for some sort of orange speed paint on all of the fire bits, and get a gray kind of a color, and look up a reference for what's supposed to be gray and didn't call it a day. But I feel like there's got to be a better way to do that. Got stuff all over it. Getting very sidetracked. This model's also still got support marks all over it. This was one of the first things from the campaign that I printed, and my printer was having issues because I ended up having to address said issues before I could print more stuff. So these guys are a little rough, all things considered, but it's okay. But yes, I do not know how to go about painting the fire because they're mostly fire. Ugh. So I kind of primed them early and then stuck them in the box because I don't really want to paint them. Magenta is a vibe. Actually, kind of dig it. I'm also kind of feeling a little bit of edge highlighting, kind of a, I feel like this is fur and I'm just not reading it. I'll block that in with some of that tan, just a little, mainly because if I do gray straight over the magenta, specifically on the muscles up here, I would like to get a little bit more something out of them. Let's, I mean, what's up, Tony? Thank you. I appreciate that. Trying to decide how I want to go about doing. It's actually funny the way it translated that emoji. So I've got essentially a chat reference over here, but my actual monitors are back there, so it's kind of funny. Do I try to highlight like bright gray? I need like an in-between. Or do I just take the win that I've got with the coloring that I have? I feel like this is one of those things where it either look really good or I really wish that I hadn't done it. There's no in between. Let's... Wish I had my little paper clip, but I don't know where it is. Toothpicks are too big to get into the spot. Yeah. Thank you. I painting this one ever so slightly different than its counterpart. I've added a little bit of that color to this counterpart, but going a little bit more, I don't want to say colorful, but a little bit more. It's got a little bit of something else going on, I guess. What the hell's wrong with this toothpick? Whew. Nope, still not enough. Damn you. I don't see that little toothpick anywhere. Right, hard way it is. Yeah. Kind of feel like this gray is not going to be as dark as this gray. And I also don't know. Kind of feel like it needs a little bit of other gray. Ooh. You just get like a little smidgen of something maybe. We got maybe too much something. Oh, I feel like it's gonna be too bright, and then I'm not gonna have the magenta. It's all. This is all bright. Only helps tone down the magenta a little bit, but I don't really know if it did. I don't know. Get basically wipe off most of this and just get a teeny little bit of that magenta back on to where I just put that gray, tint it ever so slightly. I don't know. I feel like I feel like nothing's happening really at that point. So I'm just gonna leave that alone. I do think his head would be a little brighter. Get the very top middle of his little noggin. And grab a little bit of my pseudo black color, which is game color charcoal. I got this out of necessity because when I went to get black, they were out of every black of every range. And that's what I settled on. And that actually worked out okay. I think these little claws are gonna be super obvious by the end of this, but I will paint them anyways. And I've talked about that before, wasting a lot of time for tabletop models, painting stuff you will never see. Now, if you just enjoy painting, then that's a different conversation. But and it depends on the model for me. But this little fella, he is just gonna be on the table. But why am I spending all this time painting these claws? Yeah, who's to say? I don't know, but I'm doing it anyways. But like the undersides of things, and like, that's just not worth it. Don't waste your time. Now these claws up top, I do think matter. Punch these guys in. It's kind of hard to make out what's claw and what's hand. There's 3 claws, and there's 3 claws. I think I got them all. I am also gonna punch in. What's going on, Eagle? I'm also gonna punch in the little eyeballs here. Might not be the best brush for that, to be honest. but we're gonna do it anyways. And actually, these get some gloss clear coat on them. Just to try to give them a little bit more oomph. Feel like those eyes might be a little sloppy, and that is a-okay. Also, I think I'm pretty sure I did the teeth black also, which I don't know why I would have done that. I feel like these specifically could use a little bit of extra color, and the teeth would probably be a perfect opportunity for that. I don't know if maybe the references were black. That is not a move that I would make, I think. Okay. Oh, I also got to use that same color and just very crudely kind of punch in his little shoulder spikes. And again, these things are almost like two-sided little horn things, and I don't necessarily care about getting lost in the technicalities of them or whatever. So gonna loosely eyeball the things and hate them, but they're also kind of all scrunched up. And I hate them. Like, these were easier. They're like on the face. Whereas these are like crushed up in his shoulder. Get paint on me? Not yet. And they're, yeah, I don't know. They're just whatever. Good grief, what a pain. I almost think I would have been better off just leaving them unpainted. This is like painting eyes. I hate eyes. Because they're like multi-sided things. I'm trying to get paint on all of them. Other one. You know what? I ain't even gonna worry about them anymore, to be honest. Oh, thanks on the skin tone. Yeah, the tried to go a little bit more, add a little bit more warmth, a little bit more ink, a little bit more something in there, which I think mostly works. Mostly. Right, I was gonna test. Should I test? I'm gonna test it. I'm gonna test a little tiny bit of dry brushing of this brain matter beige color over the fur and just see what I get. I feel like that's gonna not work super well. It's worth a shot. I'm not going to do the gloss on the eyes because they have to get matte cleared, and then I'll do the gloss on the eyes, and I'll stick him to his base. Because again, I'm going to have to trim up one of the posts on these feet because they do not actually fit on the base. So I don't know I did that or what happened there, but let's see this. I feel like it's too big, but I don't think I have a smaller one. I do not. So this is as good as we're gonna get. I'm always in a weird spot with dry brushing. It is kind of catching. I don't know if it's really doing anything. Does it look any different? I don't really feel like it does. But now I've done it to one, I'm gonna do it to the other one just in case. Okay, well, I mean, quick and dirty, but I mean, that's basically it. That's kind of all I'm going to be doing as I drop these. So these guys, I did print these bigger, not to say they couldn't be printed bigger, but smaller than I printed them. But printed one upscaled by 30%, which it is bigger. I think it's a little too big because like this just feels really small. And this feels maybe a little closer, but then if this dude here stood upright, he would be ginormous, whereas if this dude stood upright, he would be kind of large, you know? I don't know. I don't think they should be that much bigger, but I do still feel like they're kind of small. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know. But yeah, I think that is gonna be mostly it for painting this little troll fella. Nice, quick, and easy. As far as what we're gonna be painting next, I am already painting or printing the Draugr dungeon walls. After our conversation on stream yesterday, I'm not really in the mood to paint Stormcloaks or Imperials. This guy, clean him up. Kind of messy, actually. It's not a great print, but he ain't terrible. Dragonborn. Not really in a rush. Could paint the Doge. Actually, I think we might paint up the Flute Chick. Did I check out the Elder Dragon? Yes, I did. I have actually already printed the whole base, like the tower and everything, and it's really small. So I don't know if they actually intended for that tower to be used as terrain and a base for the dragon, or if the tower is supposed to just be a diorama piece and not. So I haven't started printing the actual dragon yet. Actually, you know what? Let me run downstairs. Let me unclip you guys for a second. Let me run downstairs and I will get the doorway portion of the tower and I will show you and see what you think. Give me just a second. So, yeah, I don't. Can you see her? Soka. Come here. Nah, she's not jumping. Oh, there you go. So, all right, down. So I started this print, and basically isn't model like the original tower. So yeah, so you've looked at it. It is it's got like a puck, right? That the rocks kind of like clamp around. So this is the entryway that kind of goes up to the front door. And what I thought, I started the print, it seemed too small. And then I was looking at this chest, which seems correct. The stairs seem fine. Let's see, where's... So this is the chest that they gave before, and it's bigger than the actual like marker, right? So that's kind of confusing. So the actual like token marker for the chest is smaller than what is on this, which this already all feels kind of weird. But then you got like a giant skull that looks like a human skull, but like is absolutely not. I have no idea what's happening with the scale here. But then even just comparing this to the existing tower, it feels off. You've got this chest on the top, which still feels quite large. It's probably the same as this. It's about the same width or whatever. So that's probably the same. But then when you look at the door, this tiny little door, like, what? So is this supposed to just be a stand for the model? Because the model seems large. Like the foot. What am I saying? The version of this that has the dragon's legs on it, because they've got like the version of the base, right, where he's like standing on this, doesn't even fit on my resin printer. It's too big, and it's like sitting at an angle, and then the dragon. So part of why I didn't start printing it was because, one, I can't fit that on my resin printer, and I don't want to FDM print part of it and then resin print the rest of it. Yeah, the original tower feels fine to me, which I assumed that they were modeling this base off of that original tower. I don't know. I was both looking forward to and not looking forward to the dragon. Just because painting that dragon was a process. I don't think I painted any of it on the thing. Don't get me wrong, the whole model's kind of neat. Like having the little like walkway up to the stuff, but the scale of everything is confusing. All of it is confusing. I don't know if it's accurate. They said they did the test printing and stuff, but I printed this once and none of it makes any sense to me. So I'm not sure. Now, you could just print the model for the dragon and this be its base, which would also be fine, but like I was kind of looking forward to having like the tower to display him on, and then use the tower as terrain also if I wanted. But you couldn't really even scale this up, because to get this portion big enough to be accurate, it would make like the chest and the skull and everything would be like really big, I think. So I don't know. I'm kind of waiting to see if anybody in the Discord or on the actual campaign say anything. I don't know. It's weird. So you open the can of worms asking about that thing, I tell you, because I printed the whole thing. I was like, all right, fuck it, let's just see. Let's see where it takes us. And then I printed it and I said, nope, it still feels small. And I think it's definitely small. So I don't know. It's weird. Who the hell knows? But I don't know. Also, haven't painted any of the Dwemer stuff really. I need to actually look at reference stuff to paint this, because I don't really know how to paint it yet. But yeah, they were talking about test printing and yada yada yada. So I don't know. I guess we'll see when the Forge Master comes into the files if its base and its kind of like diorama type things feel super weird and out of scale, or is it going to be accurate? I don't know. I'm curious to see if anybody says anything, because this stair set alone, like, is super confusing to me. Because it's not like it's out of scale. You've just got out of scale things within the thing itself, like the bones. And actually looking at it, this kind of looks like, well, you can see that. Give me this toothpick. So this little bone right here kind of looks like the pelvis bone that's like on some of the Draugr, bases. And that thing is huge. It's kind of accurate to the skull, but this just doesn't make any sense to me. That's part of why it's just stayed down there. Because I printed it pretty quick, because I was kind of waiting for it. But I don't really want to paint it. I don't really want to do anything with it, because it's not what I wanted it to be. So I do not know. I'm going to enlist some help in the wall painting department, because I don't know if I have it in me to paint everything that I did yesterday again, times a bunch more walls. But I think I've got enough done. I could probably do the reference shots for the other video that I did on making the wood floor paneling kind of a tile thing. So that'll be a regular video. I needed to paint those to do some reference shots at the end. So that'll come out. As far as what we paint next, I feel like I just figured this out and now I don't remember again. I need to figure out the Spriggans. This will probably be who we do next, because for some reason I'm looking forward to painting her. So that'll probably be next. And we'll go from there. There's still so many. And those damn Spriggans. But yeah, there we go. Back to where we started. Frost Troll. I'm going to get this guy matte cleared and gloss those eyes. Trim down his little foot stump because it does not fit on the base. I don't know if that's me or if that's them or what exactly happened there. And then we'll get some snow on there and a tuft or something to make it match. And that'll be that. So, quick one today. What's tomorrow? Wednesday. I don't know if I'll be painting tomorrow. We'll see. Because I need to prime and Zenithal a bunch of stuff, because I'm not going to do that on stream because that's loud and tedious and annoying. So it just depends on whether or not I get anything primed and ready to go for tomorrow. I could do the Spriggans tomorrow. I'm going to stop yapping. We'll see. I might be painting tomorrow. I might not. But I appreciate y'all sitting here hanging out and yapping with me while I truck away at some more of these models, because my God, there's a lot of them. I'm also kind of getting back into like a Halo Flashpoint kind of a mood, especially with the Noble Team stuff coming out. So maybe we'll pick that up. Also going to Adepticon at the end of the month, and I'll probably buy stuff there. So we might have some non-Elder Scrolls painting stuff coming up soon-ish, but we'll see. All right. Appreciate you guys. I will see y'all in the next one. See ya.
The power of the dark side.